So cold today. I'm still cold. I've been back for a couple of hours, but boy, is it cold today. Too cold. Hey guys, so great to be back. Today's Sunday, so tomorrow another week starts in midst of a lockdown, at least in Germany. And one of the big themes that comes up now is that we have all these anti-corona measures that help us to prevent people from getting infected with the coronavirus. But being at home, being separated from each other, increases, of course, depression and people also being suicidal. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about why Corona is at the end nothing else than a loop that we look through at the moment to look at the problems of our society. And maybe it's just enlarging what we had all along for a long time. Now it just is easier seen that people, are just not happy. Now, one of my biggest influences in my spiritual development when it comes to books was Sri Nisargadatta's book, I Am That. So he didn't write this book. It was basically a collection of talks that he had given, questions that people had asked him. He was somebody who lived in India, actually in Mumbai, and who had a spiritual awakening. He was a normal family man, and he was selling cigarettes. But it's kind of funny, because you always think people that are really spiritual, they're not smoking or definitely wouldn't sell cigarettes. But that's what he was doing. And then in his, it must have been his 40s or so, he started to get more interested in spirituality. And he found a teacher. And the teacher told him to just ask himself, who am I? So that's a classical way to find out who you might be if you may be more than what you think you are. What is this body? And within a short period of time, he was able to be self-realized. So the whole thing with self-realization or enlightenment is kind of funny, because you meet a lot of people who say they're enlightened, and I don't think many people are really enlightened. Maybe they think they're enlightened, but with Sri Nisargadatta is quite amazing, because when people asked him questions, the answers he gave were really mind-blowing. So let's imagine that he was enlightened. The interesting thing about enlightenment is when people reach a stage that they call enlightenment, very often they say they always had it. One way to describe it is as the gateless gate. So you think there's a gate, but there's not a gate, and then you go through the gate and you realize there was no gate, or something like that. So he realized that he's connected with everything, that he's one with everything. And people came from all over the world to ask him questions, to sit with him and just ask him how he feels in that state of being. And when I read this book, and that was a long time ago, about 20 years ago, two questions really that people asked him, and his answers stuck with me. The first one was, somebody asked him, and I don't know if I quote this 100%, but that's what is stuck in my head from when I read the book. The first amazing question was, Sri Nisargadatta, what is real? And his answer was, everything that has a beginning and has an end isn't real. And the second one was, somebody asked him, Shrina Sagadata, what do you see when you look at me? And his answer was, I see you imagining yourself to be. So the first one was probably the most mind-blowing one, because what does this mean? Everything that has a beginning and has an end isn't real. And to me, back then and even now, it only can be something like friendship or love, because everything else seems to have a beginning and have an end. But now, in our society, our focus is so much on things that have a beginning and have an end. It's all about careers and money and possessions. And not that I'm saying that any of this is bad, but if it has a beginning and it has an end, it isn't real, then unreal things, that's again the nothing that I was talking about the other day, and we make out of the nothing something, it can't give us happiness because it's not real, it doesn't exist at the end. So all along we've tried to find happiness in unreal things. But now, of course, the unreal things are taken away from us as well, because many of us don't know how the future looks like. So there was always hope that the future is better than the now, and that these things that are inherent unreal will give us fulfillment when we finally have them, when we get to the goal. Now this is it almost seems not possible anymore, because who knows, who knows what's gonna happen. I mean, this is like, I don't know how many weeks we've been in this lockdown. I forgot. I mean, it has been that long. So it's since mid-December, and now is almost mid-February. So that really wears on people, because there was some hope. But at the end, most of the things we were striving for were unreal anyway. But behind all this, there's obviously the intention to get the real. Because I believe all the things we do that are unreal, that have a beginning and have an end, or that we try to get, we do because we want what is real, what is love, what is friendship, it's love and friendship, because even acceptance has a beginning and has an end, and all that other stuff, it's out of the window. So it's ultimately, we're striving for the real, because deep down subconsciously, I think we know that there's only the real that matters. But we don't do it in a straight line. We're sidetracked, and sometimes we get caught up in the unreal so much that we don't get to the real. And also we realize very often that having the unreal doesn't get us the real. So in a way, we wouldn't have to, do the sidetracking part. We could go right to the real and forget about the unreal. But this all bubbles up now, obviously, and people, I think we all have deeper insights into this now. I mean, the whole question why, why do I do what I do, comes up now. And as I said in one of my older posts, actually we have all the answers. I mean, I can only highly recommend I'm That by Shrina Sagadata Maharaj, and I'll link it below. But why be distracted? Why not go for the real that doesn't have a beginning and doesn't have an end? And obviously we all have to make a living, but then we can just play with that. It's not that serious anymore, because again, we made out of nothing something. We took it serious, and it isn't, because it has a beginning, has an end. It's not forever. But then there's a funny thing about friendships and about love, that in a way doesn't feel like it had a beginning and had an end. I mean, I don't have too many examples for that kind of love, but with my grandparents, for example, I felt always that love was always there, and it's still here today, even though they've been dead for 20 years or so. So that's the great thing about Corona, because now we have to face these things. But since we have all the answers, all we have to do is look at the answers, because we had people here who walked the walk before us, and in a way we know we do have the answers. So now with Corona, there's no reason to really be depressed, because we haven't lost anything. What we're losing is the illusion. What we're losing is the nothing. And we're sad about it, but it's good to lose it, because we would have had to lose it anyway. And most people unfortunately only lose it when it's ready to croak, to leave this body. So that gives us the chance maybe to realize something before we have to go, and maybe live a more meaningful life after we realize that. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. So no reason to be depressed, even though, it gets us all sometimes, because we made out of nothing something. We thought that the unreal is real, that it has a beginning and has an end is real. And when we accept that it isn't real, then we can focus our lives on things that are real, and then on many things that don't have a beginning and don't have an end. But they're fulfilling, they make us happy, and they open our hearts. And that's what counts at the end. Thank you so much, and I see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much. Bye for now.